Yeah, I hope that this really goes the distance. I really do.
I think Jay's a little bit nervous for New York.
He's sweating.
What you mean, man? I ain't never nervous. Don't get it twisted.
That's the thing, though. It's like the question about this series. Like, is there something to be worried about? I think most of us, as you should, say yes. But on the other side, man, and you could talk about it. Atlanta FaZe. I don't know. Like you and I, we've been in the green room. We were watching throughout the Pro-Am. It's just like it has to be the search destroys or the primary issue, but it just feels like it's not the same team as of this moment. And as Nameless said, they're going to come in very ticked off into this series. But the question is, are they going to be able to live up to that hype that we've said throughout the season? Or is it going to be New York, who are off of the Pro-Am, walking away with another WJ?
I have no idea, but when you take a look at our maps and modes on the for this series for Atlanta FaZe, it just shows me that they're still trying to expand their map pool. They have 2 maps in here that they have not really played a lot, which is going to be that Berlin hardpoint to start us off, and also that Bouquet search and destroy. So for me, I think the big picture for Atlanta FaZe is they're just trying to expand their map pool, trying to get closer to the end of the year, trying to be championship ready at the end of the year at the right time. But when you talk about this Berlin hardpoint, like I said, they haven't really been playing this for NYSL. This is one of their strong maps. Obviously, the last time that they played this versus LA Thieves, like that said, they just came out slow. LA Thieves coming off of that great victory, they just steamrolled them on that map number 1. So when you look at this map, 5-2 for New York, 2-1 for Atlanta. The big talking points for this map has to be the P3. The P3, at least for both of the hard points for me, are going to be how you decide on who's going to be able to walk away with this map. For Atlanta FaZe, they really struggle off the rotation. For New York, that's their only success on this map, P3 and P4. So this is going to be a battle between both teams. Let's just get on into it. Trades going back and forth in towards P1. Simp able to come out on top. Atlanta FaZe hold. Oh, that was 3? Jesus.
I love to hear me some Jeremy Stud play-by-play. I'll tell you what, I will sign up for that every day of the week, my friend. But absolutely, it's an interesting series. Like, you're looking at both of these rosters with some questions, right? FaZe, obviously, the primary discussion is in the search destroys. The Simp starts things off a healthy 7-0. The glide bomb earned, and my goodness, the presence felt already from NYSL. We'll go and get away from FaZe. But on the other side, Jay, for NYSL, it's kind of the LAG effect. Granted, they are off of a win at the Pro-Am, but are they here to stay?
I don't know. We're gonna find out today, man. At the Pro-Am, they go 18-3, winning a majority of their respawns, only losing a couple of their respawns, and winning a majority of their searches. And when you get more deep into this series, I think that's the answer for Atlanta FaZe. What can they show us in search and destroy to try to get themselves back on top?
So we heading toward P2. 40 seconds left. FaZe very eager to want to get back into this hard point. As we said, a very
angry,
ticked off roster right now. It is Friday the 13th, by the way, and the Terrors are trying to cause some problems in every single aspect of the map. NYSL able to stabilize for a moment. 20 seconds left before we head toward the hard point that you labeled, Jay, as the one to look out for here on Berlin. That P3 right now is going to sit at the back of Atlanta FaZe. They've got that to dwell on, as NYSL are going to take the advantage. But take a look at these early pushed up players right now from New York. We say goodbye to one. Hydra still here.
Hydra's gonna be able to sneak his way in through fire. He's gonna be that initial breaker. And that's just a terrible setup from Atlanta FaZe. The fact that they were early set up, finding a couple of gunfights, they let one player slip through and break their entire setup. So now this should allow NYSL to get in from flat side, to get this initial time and continuously grow this lead. Now Atlanta FaZe trying to break in. Cellium does find one. Arcitys and aBeZy find 2. So the pressure's gonna be from the street. Can Atlanta FaZe break in? Yes, they do. Now all of New York spawning out towards front.
FaZe just allows for one player to slip the net, and just like that, they turn their heads and they brute force their way back inside of fire. Because now they will take the advantage. So many lead changes already throughout game 1 here on Berlin. A massive game for both of these teams. We know Atlanta to be so dominant, really, in hardpoint throughout Vanguard, and really for New York, Jay, they were unbelievable when it came down to their opening hardpoints. A lot of those being on Bocage. Now we head toward Berlin, down by 20 points, but they've got the rotation for next. And right now, it is Hydra in the ultimate spot that could cause some issues. FaZe able to sniff him out.
Find that first kill on the rotation. Hydra's still going to spawn out towards back trains, though. Crim eliminates that pressure coming in from that P2 side. Now the glide bomb is going to get invested. Probably a terrible time to do so with 2 of your teammates dropping, so the glide bomb is going to get absolutely nothing. New York hold that first push. Now it's time to hold the pressure coming out from train side. Crimsix does a great job of finding 2 from top train. They're just holding on to the pressure. The train I mean, the flip is also going to be there. So now Atlanta FaZe spawning out towards the back. This is the perfect case scenario for NYSL to potentially take this lead and get properly set up for that P5.
Great work from Crim. Now 4 in a row. Does get found out there from Cellium. That is always an interesting element added into this series as Hydra finds his 3rd in a row. It's going to be that battle between Crim and the Tiny Terrors, Jay. We know how often they like to go back and forth on social media. I guarantee that if New York does somehow manage to walk away with this series, there's going to be some extreme trash talk tossed away of Simp and aBeZy. The same can be said if it goes either which way. Right now, a neck-and-neck game as we head into P5, and Crim continues to slay on, out dealt with by aBeZy. Back and forth we go.
And when you take a look at the start that Simp had, you're probably thinking Atlanta FaZe are going to run away with this. He started off like 11-2, picks up that early glide bomb, but New York, they do a great job of just not making that glide bomb useful. They're controlling the time, and this is one thing that I really love about ever since they have added a player like Kismet to the team. I call him at least the Mr. Do-It-All. The guy's going to be able to put himself in about 35 to 40 engagements a map. He's going to soak up about 2 minutes, and this is what's allowing NYSL, even right now with getting outslayed, they're still having a great lead.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about so many different things with New York's game. Obviously, they sit right now 11th in the overall standings. A lot of issues, right? A lot of problems with this Subliners team, and it felt like series after series. I mean, it felt like, you know, things were being checked off the list, whether it comes down to struggles in hardpoint, you know, communication with the SMGs, even little things like attacking percentage on Tuscan. Everything was being solved, and a lot of the times, man, it felt like Kismet was at the helm of all of those problems being solved. He has absolutely been a major contending force for why NYSL has turned things around, and the same thing can be said for Mr. Paulehx. Great work toward the outskirts of the alley, ends his streak on 5 in a row. We've had so many players going on sprees, and now it could be Crim's turn, though. Let's go ahead and toss it down to some communication. Let's go to a listen now with NYSL.
One shot low right. He's playing now. 15 seconds, guys. Yeah, just stay on top of rotations here. Stay on top of rotations. Yeah. Someone else get dice here. Someone else get dice. I get dice. In you. Oh shit, there's 2 in there, one's P2 tank. Sam, hit on my tank, He's hitting up. He's hitting my tank.
We gotta kill this guy.
Okay. We're good. I'm wrapping deep right.
You went long, I think?
I don't see him.
Yo, dubs.
Don't see the guy.
One's in a P for shot.
Yo, left up dead.
Yeah, I'm playing for dice. You were looking for dice. Yeah. Looking for dice. He's on the tank. Right side of it. He's pushing the side door now.
Yo,
close inside door.
One side door.
We close.
Dead. Too close. Yo, one to your street. Two left. Switch on your street.
Yeah, I got him. P1.
Nice. Top P5. Alec weak.
Some great comms there out of NYSL, despite what has been a excellent opportunity for Atlanta FaZe to even the score once more. A lot of great small talk coming through from New York, Jay, and a myriad of different moments, calling out specific players to look out for here and there. We're on the brink of another lead change and a massive hard point up next. Let's now take a listen in with Atlanta FaZe.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly,
alright, bottom fire Hydra. Where do you? He's bottom fire. I didn't need him. I have 14 bullets. One's front fire hitting out. Oh, I'll see him. Hitting gold, I'm dead. 2 on gold. Just 2 on. Both weak. Hydra. One shot.
I'm still pinching you guys.
I spawn glass.
I'm still BSing him.
He's library.
He pinched me BSing you guys. Kismet.
We didn't hit this. Yeah, bottom
Hit me bottom fire too. Don't pinch me fire.
I'm playing bottom fire.
I spawned
No, wait, Crim, coming in. Crim's back left time. I'm dead. There's one in fire.
Fall weak. Sorry. Take your time. Go right.
I'm right.
I'm
I spawned in glass. Yeah,
I spawned for guys. Okay.
He's still there.
Watch out.
Beat him.
Watch out 4 steps.
I'm already back here.
I'm watching.
The comms are clean from both sides. For Atlanta FaZe, you can just hear the frustrations in their voice. They can simply not break into that P3 with the way that NYSL were properly set up there. And then for the opposite side for NYSL, I think the biggest voice that I heard had to be Kismet. He was currently leading. He was like, make sure we're on top of our rotations. Make sure we're putting ourselves in the best positions to close out this map. And that's why you see NYSL currently up 50 points. They're doing the fundamentals right. They're making sure that they are set up properly for their money hills. We saw it on the early rotation from P1. They get a full 60 there. They get smoked at P2, but they respond with a great hold on P3 to now have a 40-point lead.
40-point lead, but that is starting to evaporate. Some excellent plays from Atlanta. They've scattered themselves firmly inside of the train station. NYSL with a moment to breathe, maybe even a moment to contest. As FaZe finally pressured with 30 seconds left, not nades rather, exchanged either which way. Simp pressured and dealt with as Crim goes flying. Trades everywhere. As half the lobby drops in a matter of seconds, it could be on to Kismet to contest what would be a 1 versus 3 inside of the time. But back and forth we go. Some Titan-like plays being made from either which side. Jay, we have got ourselves a Berlin hardpoint as New York break for the final 5 seconds. That will flip things for Atlanta FaZe for a future P1 possibly, but we've still got another hardpoint to go.
Yeah, Atlanta FaZe need to focus on keeping this side of the map, keeping their control towards top plat, and not allowing NYSL to get a lot of time off of this P5. You see, they find 2 kills towards that P1 area. Crim trying to do everything he can to hold down this train side. He's gonna spot Cellium and get a little bit of assistance from Paulehx, but neither one of these squads are playing for much time off of this B5. I'd like to see NYSL probably contest it a little bit more, put the pressure on Atlanta FaZe, so they have to try to contest it. But they're just doing a great job of just keeping them off. Atlanta FaZe are not trying to flip these spawns.
Yeah, you're happy, like we always say, to park the bus, stay in the back of the base, don't get overly aggressive. And I don't know, maybe Simp just like, hey, aBeZy, getting a little bit aggressive, my man. Maybe on the other side of P5, not a big fan of that. Obviously, jokes aside, he gets taken down. Cellium, nice little angle there as well. Okay, MC, through the railing we go. Unfortunately, all of those automaton bullets, 30 good ones, majority of them do go through the railings, and nothing going to be earned there from him. Rotation bound, 25 more for New York, and the one player who has continued to be the route man very well might be making the plays. Hydra going to find himself inside a back P3, and the plays are going to be made. Finding one onto aBeZy, giving the communication out to his teammates as the bench is nearly in. MC handles business. New York earns spawns in the meantime. A lot of seconds that could be going FaZe's way unless New York can make the break.
Yeah, New York just need one break because Atlanta FaZe, they're set up for this beautifully. They have every single angle cut off. aBeZy's watching the full flank, Cellium is watching secret, and now you're basically forcing all of New York to try to break this from top plat, and that's going to help. Hydra and Paulehx are able to find 2. Paul with his second kill. Last player closest is going to be Cellium. They take care of him, and now New York has the potential to get closer to that 250-point mark, but they cannot win here.
They cannot win it here. FaZe do just enough at the start, but they will be incredibly close. Around 247, maybe 248 with the tick, and we know that is a long one at that. But FaZe ready, geared, and prepared as they will have to lock things down and then some here at Library, here inside of Mail, whichever call out you like to give. It's time. New York starting things off well with the nade, the instant trades, though, as Hydra looks to break on through. Paul with one, a perfect team wipe from New York, and some extra bullets for good measure out of Paulehx as NYSL will answer here in the Berlin, taking it, and now up 1-0 in the series. Shades of Pro-Am already.
NYSL just did a great job from start to finish of this map of doing the fundamentals. Their SMGs, Kismet and Hydra, both taking the routes when needed. Big plays coming out of them to make sure that they were set up on their money hills properly. We saw it on the first go around. They set up properly for that P3. They were able to get some great time there. Then off the second rotation, they were able to flip those spawns on Atlanta FaZe and take control of that P1 top plat side and basically hold that down for a full 60. Atlanta FaZe's always answer was at that P2 hardpoint. They always were able to at least get 40 to 50 seconds, at least in the first 2 rotations, to get themselves back in the game. But we said it before the map even started. If Atlanta FaZe found themselves with the early rotation towards that P3, that's where they needed to set up. They cannot allow one player to just slip through fire and basically flip their spawns on its head. That is mistakes on the side of Atlanta FaZe. That's why this map has been in their permo bans. Like, this is why they're trying to expand it, because they see a lot of mistakes that they make on this map. It shows there, even though they play NYSL really close on it, they still had a couple mistakes that cost them. NYSL take map number 1.
And the biggest issue too, Jay, the reason why it hasn't been, one of their primary hardpoint choices, which again, it hasn't been a ton, when it comes down to CDL matches. I imagine the scrimmages are a large portion of why that's the case. But in the matches that we've seen, it's been Cellium with the 1.3, everybody below like a 0.9, 0.8. In this game, if you were to tell me, all those things considered, that Simp was going to start off a perfect 7-0 and also lead the way for the team, I would have told you, it's probably going to be an Atlanta FaZe victory. I expect the #1 hardpoint team in the game to take the dub with all of those factors considered. Also, they do outslay in the game and do lose it. It's just crazy. It's crazy. And the perfect element of teamwork at the end to get the perfect 4-man wipe. Excellent execution there from the Subliners. And that instantly makes you, I guess, Jay, very concerned if you're an Atlanta fan. I mean, everybody is watching this series with both of these teams in mind, right? Where does Atlanta sit, especially in the search and destroys? Where does New York sit after the Pro-Am W? Well, New York come out strong, and now the emphasis is going to be on to Atlanta. You can list off all kinds of search and destroy records. They have not been great recently, and they've got a Bocage up next. Yeah, and going into the Bocage search and destroy, this has been their auto veto the entire year. They're just trying to expand their map pool, and when you're down 0-1, it makes it a little bit more difficult to try to fight into this series. They have to show life on a map that they barely played before. So for New York, they're sitting at 3-2, not really a little bit more success on the side of NYSL than it is for Atlanta FaZe. But just the way that NYSL plays this map, it's all on Hydra. Like, Hydra is the guy that really just sets the tone on this map. Pretty sure on this map specifically, sitting at a 1.2. On the opposite side for Atlanta FaZe, the guy that needs to shut him down has to be Simp. On that map, he's a 1.8. And that's a guy that usually is stepping up. Like, based off of that map, number one, pushing out Spawn, 7-0, Glide Bomb, the guy is ready to play today. So I'm looking at him to try to shut down Hydra. But then for me, it has to be the other half of the Tiny Terrors. It has to be aBeZy. On this map specifically, on a map like Bocage, you're probably thinking SMG, you're going to find a lot of success. But he's overall sitting at a 0.76 on this map. So him and Simp need to find some teamwork going into this map number 2 so they don't go down 0-2 in this series. Yeah, without a doubt, my friend. We'll go and take a look as well at our Search Destroy top performers. These are overall stats combined throughout Vanguard. And I know we're talking about a few specific players. Like we said, these are just the top performers for both of these rosters so far throughout the season. It is Paulehx from one side with a good old 1.3. On the other side, it is good old MC, a 1.27. Some major numbers, but sometimes, Jay, as you called it, the numbers don't always tell the story. While these guys are without a doubt the leaders in their team in Search Destroy, you're looking more at the SMGs, you're looking more at those early entry fights. And I gotta say, man, I absolutely agree with you. I want to see Simp and aBeZy get dominant on a Bocage Search Destroy. I want to see aBeZy getting first blood, staying alive, or at least, you know, taking down a majority of the roster, whether it's a first blood and some extra shots and somebody else. You want to see, I guess, maybe some decision making when it comes down to Atlanta. That's been the primary critique around this team in S&D, my friend, and you've talked about it a lot with me in the green room. It just feels like at times they stall out and they wait for somebody to make a play. I feel like every time we've been watching Atlanta FaZe so far in S&D, in this game specifically, they're just overthinking a lot. Like, some of these plays, you can just push out, use your gun skill to win some of these rounds. But the fact that they're overthinking, just basically spreading map the entire time, not really using their strengths to their advantages. Like, with the Tiny Terrors on your head, you want these guys to just full out be aggressive, probably find you a couple trades left and right. And then you have Cellium in your back pocket who could always put himself in a position to play the clutch. I would just like to see more fast plays coming out of Atlanta FaZe and less thinking. Well, speaking of fast, New York send 2 strong instantly through the river. Arcitys, the first man aware of it, quickly gets met with some shots out of Hydra. First blood is found. And just like that, Atlanta FaZe, in some ways, are going to be between a rock and a hard place. They've got every single bit of cover found. However, it is a 2-for-1 trade throughout the middle. Now going to bring it in to a 2 versus 1. Cellium, the last player alive. And he's got both players below him, Jay. And they know his position as well, because Cellium does pick up a kill. So now in the 1v2, Hydra and Crim trying to spot him. Don't know if Crim was able to at least spot him towards backstable, but Cellium does see one. He's going to challenge onto Hydra. Doesn't get the kill. Crim is there for the pounce, and that's just a beautifully executed round by NYSL to be early aggression towards that water side. Great duo work coming in from Hydra and Kismet, because they both are just pushing out super aggressive. Kismet fully commits. Hydra slows it down. He finds that first opening blood and then sends Kismet on the full flank before he eventually does get taken down. Right there, New York, just setting the tone right off the rip. Now you have to watch your flank if you're Atlanta FaZe going on to the rest of these offensive rounds. Yeah, Jade, I know you get excited about that. You love when teams make a statement early into a Search Destroy, because like you said, it's perfect, right? You put that in the back of the enemy's mind throughout the entirety of the game. Hydra's doing some interesting jump spots toward the river. Meanwhile, it is Kismet with the bomb on his back, looking to try to make a play. He does see the window is open, and speaking of windows, it's the opportunity there for Crim as Porter hits the deck. It could be on the Kismet to pick up a frag and return. Current 3 versus 3. Round starts to slow down.
A lot of time to work with if you're in New York. Just trying to play for some information. Hydra's gonna be that player watching if anyone tries to sneak through that water side. And Paulehx is the guy watching towards mid gate. He's gonna put down a couple shots towards top room, and this is eventually gonna allow Kismet to be the playmaker. He does have the bomb in his hand, so you do not want to die in a terrible position here.
Don't want to die in a position like this. Arcitys able to find Paul. In the middle of trying to get toward top grandmas, he gets found out. Kismet and Hydra now left alive, and Kismet, a great beamer there onto Arcitys. And because of the great work that Hydra has done, he now will help babysit the bomb carrier over toward the B site. So plant down, and now it's time for the retake. Kismet gets dealt with, and now it is all on to Paco. 1v2.
Yeah, right there. Hydra definitely spots the player, and aBeZy going towards lower water. I would like to see Kismet just play a corner on bomb, not turn your back towards that side of the map. So now in the 1v2, Hydra's just going to play for them not hopping this bomb. Just trying to stall as much time as he can on this clock. Cellium is eventually going to hop on this defuse, and I don't think Hydra's going to be in a position to at least get towards the bomb. He's going to get up with his life.
Oh! Paco, the 1v2 takes him off the defuse in the perfect amount of time. And Crim cannot believe it. Let's take a look at this again. Look at the top side of your screen. Oh, inches away. That's got to be 0.2, 0.1, and also hits the snap on aBeZy. Give me a break. The crack of a smile there from Hydra says it all.
That's insane clutch. Insane ice in the vase for young Hydra as he clutches up the 1v2 to now put his team up 2-0. I thought he wasn't going to get close to that bomb, but when he gets that first kill and then snaps on aBeZy, that's what makes Hydra. He makes things look really easy.
Yeah, man, like I said, like the first one is already great enough, but the fact that he also finds the second, I mean, aBeZy could have gone for the defuse. He wins that fight. He gets there in time. My goodness, already into round 3. We've got players in very, very close quarters right now. Bocage almost feels like there's not enough room for 8 players on the map. He's already inside of Grandma's. Not a ton of square footage to work with, but that's exactly how aBeZy likes it. Finding Hydra, getting some revenge from that prior round. As Arcitys will answer with one on the Kismet. Paul gets the timing. Now a 2 versus 3. Makes his way into old AS&D. And also will get punished all on to Crim. A 1v3 found out. FaZe, thankfully, get one on the board.
That's just good work from Atlanta FaZe. Right there for Atlanta FaZe. When you're attacking this A bomb slow and steady, they usually find a lot of success winning their offensive rounds around 66% of the time. So if they plant this bomb towards A, it's going to be tremendous problems on the side of NYSL because they have a 0% retake percentage if that bomb ever gets planted at A. So they tried to shut it down, but aBeZy opens up with that first blood. Once they find that, they eventually turn it into a 4v2. And at that point, they know the positioning of Crim. They take him down. Atlanta FaZe finally able to get their first round on the board. As they go back on the defensive side, New York just going to take their time once again. Paulehx opens up with that first blood with the nade.
Some great nades early. Make sure to empty those pockets. Oh, and aBeZy brought down quite low. Kismet, oh, he's hungry. He wants that kill. Crim, another one on his Simp, an instant 2v4, and Kismet, yep, that one's going to belong to him as well. Arcitys, very, very quickly left in a 1v4. Still doable if he takes that player off the bomb, but he gets found out as well. NYSL, the entire way over toward that A site, handle business, and don't give Arcitys the chance.
I don't know what's going on with today, but for some reason, a lot of people are catching the frags to their feet today. We saw it in our first series, nade first bloods every single time. And right there, New York to do a great job of capitalizing on that first blood. Once they find that first blood with the nade onto Cellium, you see Kismet with his nade puts it right in through the old AS&D site. Once he gets that hit marker, he commits fully to take position of that side of the map and catches aBeZy completely off guard. That's just beautiful adjustments coming in from NYSL to not take a commanding 3-1 lead.
It just already feels like it, man. FaZe, a must-win type of round, but Crim and Hydra everybody involved in the feed as it is a blender over toward the A site. Arcitys again left in a 1 versus 4, and my goodness, New York, perfect placement, perfect plays as after what has been a very Frustrating search and destroy for the Atlanta FaZe. I mean, we talked about the Paco play, right, where he's able to clutch on out. I mean, in some of these situations, New York, they just get players down in a moment's notice. And really for FaZe at this moment, man, it's got to be around. Like, you got to win this next one. You got to get something for the sake of this series. Somebody's got to answer. Somebody's got to wake up.
Somebody's got to get something on the board for Atlanta FaZe, because the way that Atlanta FaZe is, I mean, the way that New York are playing right now, so much confidence in their gameplay. It's not slowing down. So now you see the game starts to slow down as we get towards these later rounds in the search and destroy. They're going to slowly try to creep their way up towards A, and Simp is in a great position, but he might get sniffed out here because no one is going to be in a position to watch his back.
Yeah, Cellium is not on that tank. Cellium is not on the tank, so Crim and Kismet working together. They go for Kismet to make his way through sewer. Arcitys is going to know that he's there. Great work there from Arcitys. However, it's Crim with one and Arcitys with the second. So maybe Alec taking some things into his own hands. He's had to do everything for this team, as he's tweeted out. He's had to run the SMG. He's had to grab the bomb. And right now, he's trying to dig this team back from the depths that they find themselves in. A 4-1 hole. The current 2 versus 3. Cellium is just somewhere in a bush. And he easily could find one of these 2 players.
Yeah, with 20 seconds left, NYSL, they're just trying to at least get some ounce of information.
Where is he? Where is Cellium?
But the bomb is actually going to get planted towards B. So now that the bomb goes down, aBeZy's there for the challenge, makes it a 3v1. Now it's all left up to Crim in a 1v3 situation. Cellium eventually jumps out of the bush and says, "Hello, buddy. I'm going to challenge you." And he wins the gunfight. Atlanta FaZe able to stop the bleeding for now. Take the round on the defensive side. Now down 4-2.
That's Cellium just like, yeah, you know, I pulled out a little spot in the Berlin. Like, I've seen that before, but like in ranked and whatnot. But I've not seen that one in the bush. He's pulling out all the stops. Everything possible. A grinder of the game. Thankfully, that spot at least helps get Crim. I'm not sure if it necessarily made the biggest difference. Maybe he spots the end of a gun in top grannies and helps give a call out. But regardless, FaZe, a must-win round. Now into the swing. A round that they have to take. And right now it is Simp sitting at 0-6 in danger of the agency. Welcome to it as Kismet into the round early. Drops as aBeZy will find another one on the Hydra. Quick 2 versus 3. Now a 1 versus 3. Crim alone.
Crim left in the 1v3. aBeZy goes massive in towards bottom. Grant wants to find that 2-piece and puts himself on a 4 spree. So now if you're Crim, 45 seconds to work with. Right now, Atlanta FaZe have a lot of areas covered, as aBeZy is going to get spotted. Actually gets out with his life. Now with 30 seconds left, Crim, he's going to get sniffed out. He eventually gets taken down in Atlanta FaZe. Slowly but surely climbing back into this game, even with Simp dropping a donut. Said it before the map even started, we needed to see a little bit better performance out of the other half of the Tiny Terrorists, and so far aBeZy has answered the call. Yeah, well, Simp started off 7-0 in the Berlin, and right now he's starting off 0-7 on the Bocage. So a little bit of a difference. I know we don't see his profile. I know we don't see his actual video feed, so I'm not sure if anything's going on with him. We absolutely hope that everything's going well with him, but so far, killless, despite what has been some great rounds grabbed from Atlanta FaZe in these last 2. As the early tacticals, the utility tossed either which way, and thankfully for FaZe, they've got some players established where they need to be, but it's 2 nades, one which was a team kill, and another team kill. What's happening?
What is going on? Crim takes down Paul. FaZe had an early nade. Arcitys left in a 1 versus 2, and I think New York spotted him.
In New York, they're not going to play for this plan either, but Arcitys is going to get a great angle onto Crim. So now in 1v1, Kismet's going to go for the challenge, and Arcitys says, "Don't worry, I'm ready for it." Able to come out on top in such a massive round for Atlanta FaZe. Early first blood goes in favor of New York. They find a nade. Cellium drops a nade on his feet, kills his teammate. And then eventually a trade comes in, and Arcitys does a great job of at least putting a little bit of bullets on that side of the map to get Crimsix to invest in his own team kill as well. Turns it into a 2v1. And then Arcitys reads it beautifully. Right there, New York, they're probably expecting for him to play grandmas towards the back of their spawn, not to commit towards a full wrap towards back barn. finds that angle, commits towards the gunfights, and Arcitys keeps his team alive on a 5 spree.
And I thought they spotted him. I thought they saw him going for the rotation as aBeZy drops. Simp there for the reply. So Simp does get on the board for his 2nd kill and will be good enough to go back and grab the bomb. Do it all type of player, but it was a 4-1 lead. Now even at 4 rounds apiece. That momentum now still sits in the balance. FaZe with it for the time. As the head of Paul nearly could have got spotted. He's got a great head of hair, but it could be a haircut. Out of Arcitys, he's got the clippers prepared. He and Simp working together toward the backside. The nades, the stuns are tossed out, and now it could be Paul's opportunity. Still 3v3, 30 seconds left, Jay.
Arcitys makes his way in towards Grandma, so he can be the playmaker to potentially come up behind one of these players on the NYSL squad. As the bomb is going to get planted towards A. The same impact that Arcitys is having is the same impact that Hydra is going to try to make. As he flanks his way, he finds that kill. Now it's all up to Arcitys. The guy that was trying to be the playmaker eventually is going to get shot in the back. Great patience coming out of NYSL to not give up any ounce of information for Atlanta FaZe. They eventually try to work that bomb plant, but they strike at the right time. As New York put themselves up at 5-4. Match point now.
Match point. Game is not over.
Music's there, baby. Yeah.
It's not over yet. It's all good. But it could be. It very well could be. I think Crimsix's camera disappeared. I think he got so hyped he just maybe kicked the camera over. I have no idea what exactly happened, but it was indeed the other 3 players who were very hyped up. I think it was Paul and Hydra giving each other a nice fist bump while Kismet went for the defuse. Now up 5-4. They did allow for Atlanta FaZe to get back in this game. Now can they close the deal? Or will it be another round 11, which they saw so many times at the Pro-Am? Into the attack we go. Kismet once more with the bomb. Making his way toward that A site as shots are established early, but take a look at the angle Kismet could have. aBeZy's there to drop him though.
Big first blood coming in from aBeZy. Unfortunately not able to get the second, so Hydra evens up the numbers. And early into this round, you can already see Atlanta FaZe, everyone is changing their position. They're not trying to get naded for that first blood. But into the 3v3, NYSL looking like the wrap is going to come in towards that B site. Player in that position is going to be Arcitys towards that top tank. So at least gives some information to his teammates of how they're going to try to develop on this play. The bomb is going to get planted. Now it's on Cellium and Simp to put that pressure on from the backside while Arcitys holds.
On Crim with the angle. Arcitys may try to line it up. Brought a little low in HP, but no, he's actually going to rely on Cellium. He's going to rely on Cellium to go on the flank. Meanwhile, it's Paul still lingering. 30 seconds still to work with. If you are FaZe, they've still got a bomb to defuse, and right now Paul is handling business. The 1-for-1 trade. Cellium and Simp now left up as Simp will take down 2. It is all on to Crim. 15 seconds. Are they going to find his position? Are they going to know where he is? Simp is on the defuse. Simp is on the defuse, and he will take care of the round himself. A hat trick for a man who started off in the agency. He has brought it back, and he will get his team to overtime.
Simp goes massive right there in that last round. Puts himself in towards Little Shack, and then once he finds himself in that position, you're basically in the middle of every NYSL player. He finds that 2-piece on towards top street, and eventually waits for his teammate to get into the play before he commits towards that defuse. He uses that head glitch to close out that gunfight. Simp, you know, it was a matter of time before he finds his kills in search and destroy, and so far he's been the answer for this Atlanta squad to get back into this game. Round 11, here we go.
And there you see the records. New York saw so many round 11s when it came down to the Pro-Am. In fact, the majority of their W's came 4 of their 5 wins in this very situation. Is Atlanta FaZe early on in this round look to plant down the objective, but Kismet, he gets dealt with. The great work and the coordination from FaZe early, finding the headshot onto the man who was the primary slayer in round 11s. But here we go. Hydra and Simp reply with kills themselves. 2 versus 3, advantage FaZe.
Look at Arcitys. Arcitys makes his way behind these players as well, so he's going to be able to at least help his teammates. And that is a beautifully executed round from Atlanta FaZe. They find that opening first blood. They fixed their mistakes, because the first go around they allowed a player to go in from top Grandma's window and shut down their entire push. But this time Cellium holds that angle. Once they find that first blood, based on the stats, whenever Atlanta FaZe puts that bomb down towards A, New York have a 0% chance at getting that retake. They eventually do not plant that bomb, but that's just a beautifully played call from Atlanta FaZe in that final round to find that first blood, eventually stall out that plant to find the second, and then allow your island player in Arcitys to work that late flank through that water side to secure this map number 2. Now the tie the series up at 1 apiece. Best case scenario for Atlanta FaZe, especially with the way that they've been looking in their search and destroy recently.
Yeah, man. And like we said, after the the crazy run from a Hydra early, we're talking about, okay, FaZe, a number of different situations. This is the swing round. This is a round you have to win. And they were able to deliver in every single one of those moments. Down 4-1. They get us to the overtime and they walk away with the search destroy. And Jay, I said the same thing in the Berlin. If you would have told me that Simp was going to start off 0-7 in a Bocage search and destroy, I would have told you were crazy to think that Atlanta would walk away with it. But this time they're able to do it. A great turnaround there from Simp. As man, Atlanta FaZe, they're able to bring it back. And I guess it's also a good sign. I mean, you're down 4-1, but Jay, you like the adjustments they made throughout a lot of those rounds.
Yeah, it was aBeZy in the first half of that game when they were down 4-1. He was just taking over, popping 2 pieces whenever he needed to. And then basically a tag team comes in. Simp says, don't worry, you got the first half, I'll take the second half. He was able to put up at least 6 or 7 kills to close out that search and destroy. Massive plays from Simp to not lose composure. Because usually when you see someone go 0-7, you're thinking in the back of your mind of, I'm doing everything wrong. They're catching me off timings. They know everything that I'm going to do. How can I throw them off? He completely lets that go. Turns up on the second half of that search and destroy to tie the series up at 1 apiece.
Yeah, man. Simp turns up, Arcitys turns up, the rest of the roster begin to join alongside of each other as now they've brought ourselves to a 1-1 score line. Folks, when we come back after the break, it is time for some Gavoot to control. Stick with us. It's the final match of day number 1 here at our Major III Qualifiers.
Duty League is brought to you by Zenny. Armor your eyes with Block's gaming glasses starting at $24 by visiting zenny.com/CDL. The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Mountain Dew. Upgrade your game with a Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League.
Alrighty, friends, it's time to take a look at the Scuff play of the game, and it comes from the man that led the way throughout this search and destroy. It is that man, Arcitys, with the clutch. Jay, oh boy, this was a round and a half out of him.
Yeah, this is basically a 1v3 once he gets that first team kill, but then he wraps his way all the way around back barn, finds that first kill onto Crim, and then the commitment from Kismet, the confidence from him to challenge Arcitys, you know, a two-time world champion. He's ready for all times of gunfights as he walks away with that massive, massive round to eventually lead to Atlanta FaZe taking the search and destroy, tying the series up at 1 apiece. Big plays coming in from Arcitys. Now we're going into a Gavutu control, and I feel like whoever walks away with this map between both of these teams is going to be able to take the series. Both of these teams don't really find a lot of success. Pretty sure it's 5-5 on the side of NYSL, 6-7 on the side of Atlanta FaZe. So this is going to be a struggle for either one of these squads. For me, it's whoever can take the most ticks of progression to guarantee themselves that defensive round for round 5.
Yeah, Jay, you and I were like chatting about this. It was like, okay, let's go and take a look at the you know, the numbers when it comes down to offense and stuff. And what you had like 20% on attack for Atlanta. It's like 15% on attack for New York on Gavutu. Not great numbers, but oftentimes, as we like to talk about in our controls, it is about as many ticks as you can get. Right now, Hydra leading the way for New York. On the other side, it is Cellium. Just a good old 1.26. It feels like anything lower than a 1.2 for MC is just an off type of game for him. But here we go into Gavutu. Map number 3. Time for control. It is time to see how many ticks Atlanta can get. Sounds like a game show. Here we go, Jay.
Here we go. New York going to be sending 3 players over towards that green side. 1 player committing towards that flank towards ring, as Crim is able to find 2 players towards the middle of the map. Cellium trying to do everything he can from top boat to stay alive, but this eventually allows Kismet to set up on that flank. Paulehx takes down Cellium, and now New York, they can fight for this map control. As Atlanta FaZe are able to slide right back on in just to keep this clock from ticking down, but so much mid-map control coming in from NYSL, keeping the push stagnant right now for Atlanta.
Yep, trying to keep it stagnant for as long as possible, and just like that, they strike on through. That'll be 3 to start things off. And this particular team push is MC will be tagged up, but not bagged fully. And not only is their presence at A, but Simp still lingering over at that B zone. The longer he stays alive, the easier it is for his teammates over toward bottom ship, as Crimsix, the only player in ear's distance, is going to be handled. And if Cellium's in this spot, it's not going to be the easy time. While he drops, it will be New York winning that particular fight. And with that, they will be able to hold off what was nearly a second tick bit of progress. Exchanges either which way, 34 seconds paused on the clock.
And if you remember when NYSL played the LA Thieves at the Pro-Am Classic in the finals on this map specifically, New York basically played this every single defensive round flawlessly by putting a lot of pressure on towards A. But Cellium able to shut that right on down, finds a 3-piece towards top bow. A is eventually going to get captured. Now it's going to force all of NYSL to try to play for that ring side as they find that 2-piece in towards the middle of the map. Arcitys doing a great job of just holding down this position. It's such a key gunfight if Arcitys can come out on top.
Wins the first. Now able to find the second. P1 control currently at the hands of NYSL. Meanwhile, aBeZy looks to make his way inside of green. One thing to think about too, Jay, like, I don't think anybody's thought about this, right? With the recent automaton buff, now 30 bullets. How much higher is Cellium's KD gonna get?
It's massive, bro, because when you go from 25 bullets in the auto to now 30, it basically goes from a 2-piece to now a 3-piece. You can potentially get 3 kills, and we saw Cellium do it right there before he even had to reload. But that's going to be 3 dead, make it all 4. Now New York spawning out towards back green. Atlanta FaZe, the stack is going to be here. First tick is already complete.
First tick's already through, the stack is in, and oh my goodness, Hydra the only player with the answer, but not sure if anybody else is going to be able to make a sizable dent. Still 2 players strong on the zone. Gonna be some nades. It's going to take some prayers, some Hail Marys, possibly from Paul. He hits the sand, a mouthful of it, and that will be Atlanta FaZe walking away with our opener. A great round from them. And for the future of this game, that puts pressure now on the Subliner side.
Yeah, that sets up Atlanta FaZe to basically close out this map. They had a 20% win rate on the offensive side, a 71% win rate on the defensive side. So the fact that they walk away with their very first offense already puts them up 6 ticks going into this round number 2. So as long as you don't allow them to capture B, you should have that defense just in case it goes to that round number 5.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. As Paul starts things off nicely with the first blood, it's just like you get a great first round on attack, and that just sits with you throughout the remainder of the game. Just the way the Gavutsu works is New York. A nice start, and Hydra, I think, does in fact sneak his way through green, so he will find himself in a great position. He's got 3 players to look at, finds 1, finds 2, and the only player who's going to be, I guess, somewhat near him is going to be Simp. He and Cellium combined for 2, but with that nice play out of Paco, now it's going to free up NYSL to keep that A progress going. Already 2 ticks through as now Simp tries to make his way on the flank.
You have 2 players who are trying to commit towards this flank. As Simp eventually finds the first, finds the second as well. He's going to be on the 6th spree. All ready to start us off. Unfortunately, does not win that gunfight onto Hydra. Kismet with a huge one-on-one onto aBeZy. Eventually secures that A point. So now if you're Atlanta FaZe, it's all about controlling the map. Trying to get pushed out towards the slower beach. Keeping control of top ring. And Paulehx at least able to get that trade onto Arcitys. Can he find this kill onto the player in top ring? Cellium has to try to go massive.
Oh, some great work. They're out of Kismet.
Oh.
Take down both Simp and Arcitys. Found instantly. Kismet trying to make the plays, and aBeZy has not turned around. aBeZy has not turned around. 4 in a row now for Kismet. He tries to pull a 180, and as he falls, thankfully for FaZe, New York was not as established as they would have liked to be. But I mean, what?
Wow.
You just give it a few more seconds. That could have been a team fight flip the other direction. FaZe take advantage, and just like that, Subliners in the very back of their base in threat of a spawn trap.
And already Simp is on another 6th spree. He went off another glide bomb and he loses the gunfight once again. Just massive kills coming in from NYSL to take him down before that glide bomb does get pulled on the side of Simp. But you see the pressure, the map control right now for Atlanta FaZe. Didn't matter with Kismet's play going in towards the back, as long as Cellium was able to hold down top ring. Now with a minute left, you're going to force all of NYSL to try to attack this from the middle, try to push this out from back green. But aBeZy's going to be here to cause them some problems.
aBeZy in a great spot to cause some issues, and he'll be able to take at least 1 with him. Breaks his way through cages, and yep, the rest of FaZe answer accordingly. It's going to take a prayer for NYSL if they want to get some ticks over at that B zone. And Cellium could be in streak territory now at 5. Needs 2 more for the glide. And that's really the only thing to think about. This round looks to be done and dusted. It appears like it is going to go Atlanta FaZe's way. A current 13 versus 5 with only 10 seconds on the clock. Not going to be enough for New York to walk away with this. Cellium does now find the 6th. Prim hunting, searching, and that will be the glide bomb. Nearly makes it 8 in a row. Cellium putting those 30 bullets of the automaton to good use. Will have the glide bomb. FaZe find themselves up 2-0. And now New York, well, they're in a pickle, Jay.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult for NYSL. Now that they're down 3 ticks, you have a glide bomb to work with if you're Cellium. If you're Atlanta FaZe, your main focus is just completing this A capture just in case you do lose this round. So they can guarantee themselves that defense if they go towards the round 5. But just so much map control right now for Atlanta FaZe, dominating. Cellium and Simp both sitting at double positive, a little bit better than double positive, actually. As Hydra trying to do everything he can, he eventually takes down 2, but it opens up the lane for Simp to find another 2-piece into the feed. 20-7, having a great bounce back after that map number 2.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely good. Maybe even spectacular. Some could argue. 20-7, nearly triple positive. I did possibly spoil it. Caster curse may be involved. It is Friday the 13th after all, but it has been a great game so far for Simp in the respawns. He has been absolutely fantastic. And despite what is a current woeful moment from FaZe, they are up 2-0 in this game. So not want to give this one up. They still want to try to get that progress today just to solidify things, even if the round does not end up going their direction. But New York, for the first time, it feels like in this game, Jay, have got a grip. They've got some control. We'll see if they can carry this forward, as now Kismet as well could have a glide bomb. 2 more.
Atlanta FaZe cannot get out of their spawn. NYSL have been getting kill after kill. Finally, Cellium at least finds one, but he's gonna get traded. Kismet on a 6 spree. Paulehx eventually has the cover fire. And this is where it can get scary for Atlanta FaZe, because they only complete 1 segment here. So now that puts them up 4 going into their next defensive round. But you do not want to allow anyone to get some glide bombs. Do not feed a kill towards Kismet, because this can change the game drastically. As it's going to be a nice, beautiful, dominant defensive round coming in from NYSL to keep themselves alive in this game. Now, if we are observers, please listen to me. We have to stay on board here with Kismet, because his glide bomb is going to be the game changer. If he can potentially pick up that glide bomb, that is the opening that NYSL are looking for.
Kismet was like, can somebody bait for me, please? Hydra,
someone give me a kill, man.
Paul? Anybody? Can somebody just jump out, sacrifice yourself for the greater good? As you said, my friend, 6 in a row, 1 more for the glide. And that could be huge when it comes down to this attack. A must-win round for NYSL, as Simp already off the start finds the angle toward top cliff, wipes away Hydra instantly. The unfortunate team kill onto aBeZy now will free up things for a moment there for New York. And as we said, staying on board with Kismet, gets hit hard with the nade, brought down to 30 HP. That tick begins to go on through. First one nearly there as Kismet. Can he find it? Is it gonna happen?
He's playing so safe right now. He knows how drastic this glide bomb can be, and he finds it. Big kill coming in from Kismet to secure that glide. Now you can start delusionally challenges as he finds himself on an 8 spree. Big gunfight versus Cellium allows his teammates to eventually get on A, stop this clock, and currently have a 1 live advantage. Now, if you're Atlanta FaZe, they're just going to completely chalk this. They're going to play for the map control. They're going to take control of top ring, take control of their beach side. They do find 2. That's going to be 3 dead. They're actually going to put that pressure on it. And with Kismet, the last player up towards top O, even though he's on a 9 spree, Atlanta FaZe taking map control once again.
Kismet has been here the entire round.
He's chilling.
He may be the captain, but Atlanta FaZe. Oh my goodness, I've caused so many issues. A great shot there from Paul. As that'll be the kill that leads him into the objective, but nade after nade. aBeZy can do it with both, whether the nade or the 40. He is purring right now. Oh, as he gets taken down through the middle of the map. 30 seconds left. Somebody from New York is going to pause this time. And pause it quick. Like we said, glide bombs to work with from either side. As 3 go down. 3 go down. Of course, it's Kismet, the last man alive. Hydra's able to find one through the middle side of the map. As Cellium now is in the base. Some things to think about for the future if you are NYSL, but the only thing they have to focus on is getting that A zone under their belt, and they will do exactly that as Simp. Double headshots.
That's great shots coming in from Simp to eliminate Paulehx from that top P1 control. So now it allows him to get pushed up. You see all of NYSL with the influence of where Cellium is on the map. They're forced to overextend every single time.
Comes a glide.
And that's from Kismet as well. It wasn't even Cellium, so you're not worried if you're Atlanta FaZe at all. The fact that Kismet does find a kill with that, he eventually finds a second. So now he can put pressure on towards this point, but the player's still behind him. Kismet, your job is to find this player towards the back, and he does a great job of doing so. Last player up is going to be Simp. This is where Atlanta FaZe might have to invest that glide.
Yeah, they might have to invest it. New York, they put a lot into this push, and they're finding the players. They're finding the angles. Hydra, he's here to hold the line. He's here to hold the angle. But he does get dealt with. aBeZy, the SMG. Great work up close, as now it's time for Cellium to bring out the glide of his own. Takes down Paul, and now that will release the time for the moment. Kismet tries to make his way into green as he gets dealt with. 30 seconds left.
5 lives remaining. This is going to be the last push for NYSL. Biggest player right here is going to be Hydra. He's the player that's trying to fight for this P1 control. Allow for his teammates to push up, but aBeZy with the cutoff, able to find a 2-piece towards the middle of the map. Arcitys eventually finds a 3rd. Last player closest pushed up towards the middle side is going to be Kismet. He gets dropped. Now it's all on Crim in a 1v7 with 10 seconds left. There's no way in hell, unless he's the flash, that he can get towards his speed point. this should be Atlanta FaZe walking away with this map in a dominant fashion. They started off by starting with a great offensive win. They answered with the defense. They fall short in the following offense, but you know, defense on control, you're always going to have the advantage. Beautifully played by Atlanta FaZe to continuously keep that map control, to force NYSL to overextend every single time. When you're spawning up in control and you're having to work harder when you're coming off spawn to try to get out of your base or to even get towards the point. That was just great work from Atlanta FaZe to control the map every single round and walk away with it, now up to 1.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly, Jay. It was like after the round number 1, it's like, okay, FaZe, they walk away with the attack. More importantly, they get 6 ticks. I mean, that very well could really be the game. And it really, that obviously was. They go up 2-0. New York really never had an answer. They invested so much in that moment with the glide bomb. I mean, you could talk about whether it was the right timing or not, but they had an opportunity. They had a split chance where it could have worked out, but unfortunately for them, that is just how difficult it is to get that B zone here on Gavutu, and they learned that the hard way. FaZe, an answer and a half, as they've come through clutch, maybe carrying in that round 11 energy, that 4-1 comeback, Okaj energy here into the Gavutu. Simp was an absolute demon, it felt like, throughout the map. Same thing for Cell. Everybody had their moments, including Kismet from the New York side, but not enough for him as FaZe now up 2-1 in the series. I mean, Jay, it's a scary situation right now for New York. I mean, you felt great, right? If you were up 2-1 or 2-0 at any point, you want to be up going into this next game 4, buddy, because the record on this next map is not good.
Yeah, it's not good for New York, especially like when you control the maps the way that they did with a 4-1 choke on that search and destroy. That was massive for NYSL. And I know the Des asked me before this match even started if I was a little nervous. At least in the beginning I wasn't, but now I am for the NYSL boys, because they're going into a Tuscan hardpoint where they haven't had a lot of success all year long. They were sitting at 1-7 on that map, and their most recent matchup versus Toronto Ultra is the first time that they actually were able to win that Tuscan hardpoint. And for Atlanta FaZe, that's usually one of their bread and butters. They're sitting at 10-5 on this map, so it gets kind of scary when you go into the Tuscan hardpoint if you're NYSL. You had the opportunity to take it in that search and destroy, potentially be up 2-1 currently in this series, forcing that search and destroy where Atlanta FaZe have been struggling in that mode for that game 5. But now with them up 2-1, Atlanta FaZe going into one of their strongest hardpoint maps that they have. This is going to be a difficult one for NYSL.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tall task. And I want to say too as well, something to think about if you are a New York fan. Maybe I'm giving you a little extra energy, Jay. I want to say the only hardpoint that Atlanta did lose at the Pro-Am was to OpTic in a game 4 on Tuscan. It was a 6-point game, a very, very wild map. And OpTic was able to take it, and they carried that into a Berlin search destroy, which is what we have for a game 5. So, hey, the blueprint is possibly there, but obviously if you're Atlanta FaZe, you want to lock it up here. You do not want to see a second search destroy, my friend.
You definitely don't, and especially with the way that the Tiny Terrors have been playing. I feel like aBeZy in this series, he's really stepped up. But when you take a look at our top performers for hardpoint in general, obviously Hydra for NYSL, he's been the guy that's been on this roster for every single match, putting up the best stats at a 1.08. And on the opposite side for Atlanta FaZe, none other than Cellium. I feel like for every single map and mode, whatever it is, Cellium is going to be leading in the category. 1.3 on this map specifically. Really a tough guy to handle. And if you are Hydra, with the pressure that he's able to put on this map, this is a guy that you need to make sure you're putting your focus on, because he can cause havoc for the NYSL squad.
Yeah, I feel like right there, that little screenshot we had of Cellium, that was like his face whenever he learned that he's getting 5 extra bullets in the automaton. just a slight little smirk, like, okay, I guess my 1.3 is going to go to a 1.4 now. Incredible stats there from Atlanta FaZe. As New York, those smiles have now turned into more focused faces, as they realize this next game, this next map, very well could be their last of the series. Can they force that game 5? A very, very intense series, as we said, the Pro-Am champions trying to prove that they belong. Not just trying to prove that they belong, but trying to prove, Jay, that they are one of the top teams in the game. What you said earlier, 18-3 in maps at the Pro-Am, an unbelievable record that NYSL was able to have. But can they take it to one of the top dogs in the game, one of the greatest CDL franchises that we've ever seen? Most consistent, is they're going to take you the full distance. They're going to make you work for it. And I'm going to ask you, Jay, Is this the last game of the series? Does FaZe get it done here, or are we headed to 5?
I think FaZe get it done here. It's just too many struggles for NYSL on this map. They struggle with P1 and P2. They allowed the opposite team to get about 30 points on both of those hard points. Their only money hill on this map is going to be that P3. So the same thing on map number 1. If they can control that P3, control the spawns for that, they should be in a great position to try to close this out. But you see that early on from Atlanta FaZe, the pressure's there as they were able to at least contest this and not allow NYSL to get a good chunk of time off this. Nades coming over the top. Simp already 3-1 to start off this game as they are controlling this P1, and they're going to be fully set up off the rotation towards that P2. You just cannot allow any NYSL players to step on through that P5, and aBeZy's going to be the cutoff man.
Yeah, man, you just like freeze frame the map for a moment. FaZe could not be in a more advantageous position, and now aBeZy watching the crossover at Plat. It gets the stun information, and from there, final 5 seconds gonna go the way of FaZe. They've got the rotation, and they've got the perfect man for the job and the cutoff that it needs to hold, but he doesn't recognize. Nobody was watching his green push out, and from there, New York, could they find the lane? Paul handles business from the backside of L. So some early adversity, somewhat handled from Atlanta, but New York are ready to answer the call once more. Kismet and Crim combined for 2, and right now, they seem to be the ones locking down the time. Constant battles back and forth. Here come the Subliners again.
Yeah, this is good work from New York to not allow Atlanta FaZe to get great time off of this P2. As they do have the spawn towards the back, but that's going to be 3 dead now. All of New York spawning out towards the middle of the map. This can allow for Atlanta FaZe to set up properly for this, get this final 30 seconds. And now off the rotation, Simp's going to be that player. He actually jukes this player out as well. He's probably thinking that, all right, he probably pushes already through ring, but he gets sniffed out by Hydra. So now New York are going to be fully set up off of this P3, and this is the money hill for New York to get back into this game. Said it in the beginning, they win their rotation 81% of the time. They have a 92% hold rate. Shout out to my guy Carson for such an insane stat.
Yeah, those are some excellent numbers in a hard point that cannot be understated. A big one already for New York as a nice flanking opportunity does get dealt with. The 2 SMGs who spawn out field could be a little late to the party as the team fights one early from FaZe, a quick 2-for-1 trade. I mean, everybody ends up dropping in a moment's notice, but once more it is aBeZy standing tall and standing true. 8-5 start for him as Paul is able to break back on in as the close roof spawns get granted from the Subliners. That is what makes P3 so rough to try and break from the opposing squad, but hey, when you got some nades, it makes the job easier.
Makes it a little bit easier, but now with 20 seconds left, Atlanta FaZe know that they secured the spawns for that P4, and Cellium goes massive to win a 2-piece to get that final 15 seconds. Oh, well, Paulehx takes him out with an aid. So no junk time going to favor either squad, but now Arcitys Player trying to anchor this one for his squad, not allow anyone to sneak through the back. Currently up 32 points is going to be the Atlanta, but here comes Paul and Crim. That duo of the ARs are able to find every single kill, and that's going to be a clean break from New York.
Oh, and a great thought process already at Paul. Just the awareness, right, to know that they're going to be spawning over at field, not P5, and gets the reach out opportunity onto Cellium. He wins that, and now he's ready to rejoin the fight. But when he gets here, it's his teammates who are winning the gunfights if they have to. 35 big ones still left inside of church. Is Paul keeping him honest, keeping him true, holding the line with the automaton. And there is Hydra for a double. NYSL just like that, right back in this game and in territory of taking over the advantage. They will have that, as now it is time for P5. 10 more seconds.
Now off the rotation, that player in Kismet is going to be the player all the way pushed out towards the roofs, as Hydra and Paul are able to find a two-piece off that rotation. Kismet has a huge one-on-one towards the backside, but it's going to be New York with the early setup, gaining some good chunk of time here. And for Atlanta FaZe, they really do struggle on this P5. They find themselves on with the rotation about 20% of the time, and that's terrible. You need to make sure that you're setting up for these hard points. You cannot allow NYSL to grow a lead off of this P5 hard point, as they're currently up by 30. Trades going back and forth. Paulehx is gonna fly. Okay. He finds two. He knows that the last player is gonna be outside. Goes for the challenge. Not able to win it, but New York still doing a great job. Basically a flawless hold on this P5.
Okay, a heat check from Mr. Paulehx. Some great work, as New York have not just taken the lead, but they have ran with it in these past two hard points. 15 seconds left, and every single player is in this position. FaZe break on through, and they will be granted with 10 more seconds. But hey, If you're the Subliners, you're cool with that. We got a second side P1 ready to go. Arguably one of the best hard points here on Tuscan. We will take it, as now it's up to FaZe in what could be considered a retaking type of position, but Kismet finds one onto aBeZy, and take a look at the positions from FaZe and the back of their spawn. The only man who's not here is going to be Simp. Trades either which way. It's New York winning them. A 1v1 now in the point. aBeZy takes it. aBeZy takes it.
A big two-piece coming in out of aBeZy. So at least relieve the pressure for it now, but Paulehx gonna invest that glide bomb. You take down Simp. That allows your teammates to get pushed up, but you do not want to flip these spawns. Look at number 8, which is going to be Arcitys. He wins a huge one-on-one. He eventually does get traded, so that allows NYSL to keep control of that P2, but they win a couple of those gunfights. They're going to put pressure on towards P1 and just fight for this junk time once again. Final 15 seconds are going to go in favor of NYSL. Atlanta FaZe on the back foot.
Atlanta FaZe on the back foot. Last time around, it was FaZe. They did such a great job at this hard point. And as you said, from a statistical perspective, this is one that they rely on quite a bit. Those P3s, not often solid, but New York, the great spawns towards their back. Right now, it is Atlanta walking away with the seconds, and a lot of that is because of the entry kills coming through from Cellium. Right now on the 3 spree, and the nades continue to cause a frenzy. New York, despite having the great spawns, have yet to get a single second so far here at Column. A great opportunity right now for Atlanta, as it has to be a break from Subliners. Back and forth we go, and this is absolute chaos right now on the map. But the man that thrives, arguably the best in positions like this, is gonna be aBeZy. Finally dropped as Arcitys takes one off of the rotation. The only man on the entire left side of the map is gonna be him. FaZe preparing for new back in this game.
This has been a beautiful hole from Atlanta. Even without the spawns towards the back, they basically held this for a full 60, and they're able to chain it towards that P3 and now have the rotations this go around. Now only down 4 points, NYSL have to execute the break. So they're going to be pushing towards the middle of the map. They're going to push from right side field as well. Whole lot pressure going to be on Arcitys. What can he get? He finds one. Kismet does find a trade as they're putting pressure on towards that top fire and towards Vine. So trades are going to go back and forth, but Atlanta FaZe so far take the lead, and they're just trying to secure these spawns for now.
Trying to secure the spawns. Kismet, not a great statistical performance, but did what he can to try to hold things down for as long as possible. He gets found out, and Crim has to reference back. Going alongside with the teammates for maybe one last good push. aBeZy just trying to be the staple to the roster right now. Cellium also gets dropped, man. I tell you what, there are so many fights. Both of these teams incredibly aggressive as New York stabilizes for the time. They try to eliminate those final few seconds, but take a look at the spread right now from Atlanta. Not only are they grabbing the last few points at the last hill, but they've also got spawns again for Church, continuing to be a step ahead of the game. Another opportunity where New York has to break.
And now Kismet, he's going to be the player to try to do so from the backside. As Simp and aBeZy combined for 3. Kismet going to be the only player here. He goes massive as he finds 2, cannot find the 3rd. So it takes Atlanta FaZe off for the time for a little bit, but they get right back on it. Now the pressure's going to be here from Hydra, from top Church. That's going to be 3 dead. New York are able to flip the spawns. aBeZy, the last player up from Atlanta FaZe, in a position to at least contest this. They're spawning all the way across the map, and this is the way that New York are going to get right back into this game.
Tell you what, man, this has been a game and a half. I mean,
this is a battle.
Taking advantage, breaking hard points when they have to. It feels like no rotation, no spawn is safe right now on Tuscan, as both of these Titans continue to exchange blows either which way. Last time around, it was a solid first 40 seconds from New York at P5. A hard point to FaZe has not seen a ton of success on. Now they're going to rely upon it to try to keep themselves a sizable advantage as we head in toward the last side of our current hardpoint rotations. It is relied upon once again from Cellium to help break with the automaton. Job done early. FaZe now spot that 250 mark out of distance. Still hiding, still lingering right now with Simp, trying to make the plays as somebody goes in the flank. Simp still here, doesn't finalize a kill. He doesn't finalize a kill, and Crim is winning some from the either direction. New York break.
And that's massive for NYSL, because Atlanta FaZe, when they are set up for this P5, they have an 100% hold rate. So they had the potential to close that out. But a great pitch coming in from New York to break on in. Huge one-on-one going to be between Cellium and Crim for this remaining 10 seconds, but off the rotation, it's going to be a huge gunfight. Simp does win the first, but Hydra comes out on top. So now New York are going to start off with this initial setup for that P1. They just have to get set up properly.
Oh man, Paul made the play. Paul found one, got shots to the other. That set up Hydra, and just like that, New York are here to start off P1. Back and forth we've gone. This has been an unbelievable Tuscan hardpoint so far. FaZe, they can feel the W. They can feel it in their grasps, and just like that, they break on through. They find 3. Crimsix, the only man still left to contest. 20 more points for Atlanta. Can they get it done here?
And Crim is doing a great job of at least contesting this for a little bit until his teammates get back into the play. But that's going to be all 4 dead in the feed. aBeZy not slowing down, as Paulehx does win a huge one-on-one, but this is the last push coming in from NYSL. They need to break now.
They need to break, but the enforced team kill takes down Paul. Now it's called Arcitys. They can still win it. They still have got the tick. Somebody from New York has to slide on in, contest for a moment. Here comes Paul, handled, dealt with, and Atlanta FaZe will lock it up off of some great late game heroics from Arcitys. He finds the double, and they had just enough time to walk away with the Tuscan. As FaZe, the Atlanta boys can sleep well tonight knowing that they handled business, taking down the defending Pro-Am champs.
And that's just massive work from Atlanta FaZe to make the adjustments in the middle of that game. They saw it on the first go around at that P3. They allowed NYSL to get those spawns. They allowed them for eventually NYSL to get 45 to 50 seconds to get right back into this game. But I think for me, the turning point had to be Atlanta FaZe's great hold on that P2 hardpoint from the front side. They were able to get at least 40 seconds on that P2. Even though the spawns did flip once when aBeZy flanks around the backside, I thought that eventually was going to cost them, but then they were able to get every single kill. After that, flipped them right on back and chained it to that P3. When you shut down that setup for NYSL at that P3 hardpoint, they could not get any time there. And then when we get towards the later half of the game, that P5 break was massive because the first go around, NYSL held it down to the T. But Atlanta FaZe, this time Arcitys goes all the way around roof side. Kismet is not there to shut him down. They execute that break and get at least 20 seconds off of that P5, which was massive for them to allow to have that late rotation over towards the P1. All they needed was one break. They find every single kill, and then they hold the push from the front side of Church to close out this map. Beautiful plays from Atlanta FaZe. Probably not as clean as you want to, but they get the job done here in a 3-1 fashion and start off the major qualifiers already 1-0.
Yeah, man, and I know, looking at the schedules as well, like Atlanta have got some very, very rough games ahead as well. So for them to get off to a hot start with, I think, Boston and OpTic Texas waiting in the wings, a solid W like that is going to put themselves in a great spot. But I can't hesitate to say it, Jay. I can't hesitate to say it, right? You look back at this entire series, and it's and the whole of it, and you're really thinking about that search destroy, right?
Yeah.
If you are New York, you won the first hard point, job done. That's the respawn. You win that game 2 search destroy, and you're instantly guaranteed to have another S&D versus Atlanta. They choked the 4-1 advantage on Bocage, and from there, Atlanta FaZe, they rode that momentum all the way home.
And when you talk about Atlanta FaZe having a couple scary matchups going up next, you usually don't say that. Like, Atlanta FaZe have been the most dominant team in the CDL for the last 2 years. Just like this year, they just haven't figured it out in search and destroy. So those big matchups versus Boston, who are one of the best search and destroy teams that we have in the game, is going to be a tough matchup versus for them. And then OpTic Texas as well, even with subs, they're still figuring out how to win search and destroy. So yes, the road forward for Atlanta FaZe is definitely going to get more difficult.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but hey, they do handle business today. It took some major clutches, but they get the job done, and they've got to be pretty thrilled with the way that they ended up locking up this series. Let's go and bring back in the desk, guys. Hey, at least it wasn't back-to-back 3-0s. We at least saw Game 4, Val.
Okay, you know what I was hoping, Lando? I was hoping that New York didn't get smoked this series, and thank God they didn't. So, I mean, the truth is out there, right? So, FaZe, they won. They're definitely here. They never left. Can't say they're back, right? They're looking to win that championship still. But when it comes to NYSL, though, they're not frauds. They're not fakes. Like, they were able to have a close series against Atlanta.
Yeah, especially in search and destroy. There were plenty of moments for them to close it out. And in that first hard point, it was very, very dominant from the side of New York Subliners.
Oh, yeah.
But again, their biggest fault was letting Atlanta FaZe, who was struggling in S&D, get that that first S&D early?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's that clutch that Arcitys had of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like sometimes the team kill coming out of Crim, and then they didn't catch the timing, and Arcitys wrapping through middle. Then Kismet kind of goes for the reach out, which is a bit unfortunate. And then they're on that last map as well. Another opportunity for New York to run away with it. Not able to hold off on their setup. They had a beautiful setup. They're at both trees. They just ended up losing their one-on-one gunfights. They're on the pinch out of FaZe, which is just FaZe being prepared, being ready for the spots that they're going to be in, and winning the big one-on-one. So for this series, we learned a lot. Like we were going into it, like, is FaZe not good? Like, are they falling off? No, they're still there in the respawn especially. And then New York, a very good S&D team, gets down to the very end, loses because of a clutch, and still contended in the respawns, won the first map, had an opportunity to win the Tuscan. And remember, this is still a fairly new team, right? That is now exiting the honeymoon stage and trying to actually get better. So I think I'm still happy with what I saw out of New York.
And playing against FaZe ain't easy. Like I said, to me, they're the scariest team in the game. But we have a Game Field post-victory spotlight with aBeZy, one of my favorite aggressive player in the game. aBeZy, good win, man. How you doing, first off? And second, I'm curious, when it comes to bow cage hardpoint, you guys are great there, 7-1 from what I see right now. Why ban it against NYSL?
I mean, I think that is like their favorite map so far. One of their better maps, and you know, we're really good at every respawn right now. Like, our respawn is just looking phenomenal. So, you know, we're confident in every respawn.
Now, my biggest question for you, aBeZy, again, congratulations. This is a big win for you guys, and not to mention the big win on the Search and Destroy. Now, you were down 4-1, and obviously there was a huge momentum change when Alec got that 1v3, but I have to know if it was truly just momentum, or you guys just elevating your in-game decision-making, and if somebody kind of just made the play call to change out the pace?
You know, I mean, we've really been working on our S&D, you know, leading after the event, because, I mean, that's been our biggest struggle all year. You know, we've changed a few things around, you know, roles-wise. So hopefully, you know, we can bounce back and start winning a lot of these S&Ds now. So, yeah, that's pretty much like what we did. And, you know, that S&D map, we were just, you know, we definitely turned the tides, like, after that 4-1 with the 1v3. And then, you know, we just rode the momentum into the, to win the map.
Yeah, aBeZy, you know, in this game, obviously you guys haven't been the same as you have been in recent years, but you guys have still been pretty good, and you've been working on things individually. What's different about this one? Like, why is it taking you so long sort of to get into a comfortable groove? Because at times, I feel like you've been a little bit inconsistent in the last couple of majors.
I mean, it's just, I mean, I feel like during every COD, I've kind of had my inconsistencies towards the middle of the year, maybe even towards the beginning of the season sometimes. I feel like I always kind of kick it up towards the end of the year. But I mean, I just really haven't found my groove that I want to find. But I mean, obviously, I've been grinding, trying to get better and find that groove. So, you know, I've been working really hard on that. And, you know, yeah, obviously, hopefully our S&Ds can come, you know, and get a lot better.
Yeah, it showed today. You look fantastic out there.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to say, aBeZy, I mean, even though you say that, you know, your inconsistencies and you're struggling, you guys are still playing incredible. I mean, you went 40 and 30 in that final Tuscan hardpoint. If this is you guys struggling, I mean, as past years have said, we are terrified to see y'all at your best.
No, yeah, it's definitely, you know, hopefully looking up, you know, coming up. So with the S&Ds, but yeah.
All right, hurry up and find that consistency, man. You're a beast out there. Congrats on the big win as well. We'll catch you next time after another big dub, all right?
All right, thank you.
No problem, man. Thank you for the good gameplay. Shoot, 40 kills to end out that series. Go ahead, boy. But also, we have a Game Field tactical play. It's not going to be on the side of Atlanta FaZe, though. Yo, it has to do with Paco, a.k.a. Hydra, where my man just... He lead on him, man.
This is nasty, bro. He gets the first kill, like the second guy just gets absolutely tucked. I mean, perfect movement.
I know, absolutely. When I saw this, I was like, oh, he's going to get cut off. He didn't realize that there was a player low plat. But, I mean, the turn and burn here, I mean, minuscule seconds on the clock. It's the opening kill into Cellium. Unfortunately, his legs were poking out just a little too far. But the fact that he goes to, like, play his life and insta turns and burns on that player?
Yeah, that was nasty. But I got to say, I think Arcitys' play was up there, too. That 1v3.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't even have to get the first kill. He's so good, he has them killing each other. All right, so I think Arcitys' play was disgusting.
Who was the last guy he killed? He melted like butter in Africa in the summertime. But, yo, that was incredible from Hydra. So, yeah, today was a pretty fast day. We had, what, 2 3-0s closing in with New York? I mean, overall, what are your thoughts about how we start off the day? We saw London Royal Ravens play against LA Thieves.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, a lot of people were talking a lot of trash about the teams that did well at the Pro-Am, but I think they had a pretty good showing today, both of those teams. I think LA Thieves look great, and then even the New York Subliners going up against FaZe is very tough. So I think we just learned, like, the league is kind of like changing tides. Like, some teams are getting a lot better, whereas London Royal Ravens, a team we kind of regarded as like a top top 3 team that might enter that championship form as time goes on. Well, they've dealt with a lot of stuff, and it's tough for them to get there. So, I mean, I think that they really got to start from the ground up. And in this series, it just proved Thieves have really gotten better.
You know what? I will say this, man. Being Los Angeles Thieves, going on Reddit, Twitter every day, seeing all, you know, the hate what people think about your team, and also losing and being able to come back, get second place in the Pro-Am Classic, and to get a good win against London, I really hope that they keep it up.
I mean, they were considered a top 4 team heading into this year, and they were. I mean, they were dominant on hardpoint. Maybe they kind of hit their dip, but it looks like they're back on the rise now. For the likes of the Royal Ravens, I mean, they didn't have a bad showing. They really came back when it came to that Gavutu, but the S&D and the control, it was a little bit of a woes on the side of the Royal Ravens, but we can give them the grace of a newer roster and whatnot, but they're seriously hitting their dip right now. Again, a team that we thought maybe was going to be top 3 in the beginning of the year, but then we got to talk about OpTic Texas versus LAG, the Major 1 and Major 2 champions. OpTic smacked them around like nothing. It was 3-0, and it was with a new team as well in the likes of Prolute.
All right, I gotta say this. Guerrillas, I love the team. I love their story. I love the fact that they won Major 2. I hate the fact that the Havok is G8. I've been very public about that. But the thing is, we can't change the past, and we gotta do what we have to deal with, right? But this has to be said, though. This is not the same LAG that won Major 2.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to find an answer to their problems soon.
I mean, listen, the last couple of times we've seen them play, like, Search and Destroy in the Game 5s, and they got reverse swept out Academy NA. And this series of Search and Destroy, they've been way too predictable in that game mode. But if we're really, you know, calling out the main thing, it's been aBeZy, man.
I agree.
Honestly, that's my guy. I show him love all the time. He plays phenomenal. He's super aggressive. It's hard to keep up that pace of play. But in this series, he was shooting circles, man. He's got to figure it out. He was not playing great. This is a guy on this team that is their X factor. When he pops off, it makes the game easier for guys like Hook, for Slasher. The whole team is great, and he knows that, right? So he's going to work as hard as he can to figure it out. But yeah, even at the Pro-Am, that was a player who was struggling for this squad. So it's really something to go back, figure out, watch some VOD. They need to put him in a position to succeed, because when he succeeds, the team does.
And I got to say this as well. Asim he's the heat for this team. He's a fire starter, because when he's running his routes and he's on fire, everybody does better. Slasher,
He's very important to that team.
Exactly. Let's take a look at the points right now. In the FaZe, smoking the competition by points, by series. It doesn't even matter. 190 and Nero front.
I mean, and that's what I was saying in the interview, right? Even though Atlanta FaZe doesn't feel at peak right now, even after that series, we saw all their face cams and we're like, wow, like that was a good series. They got the win, but they clearly aren't happy with the way that it went. They are still top in CDL points, 190. They are still leading the competition and are still the team to beat.
By the way, I want you guys to take a look at all the points from 6th place all the way down to, let's say, 11, okay? For the simple fact that this is a very close race. And in regards to champs, some of these teams aren't going to make it. You're looking at Toronto Ultra right now in 9th place. That is not what we would have even predicted last year. So we're going to keep track of that days moving forward. And speaking of moving forward, this has been fun.
Absolutely. I mean, and this is going to be the time we start to talk about champs points. We're getting to that point in the season where you have to start winning these games. So whereas New York looked good in that series, they need some points. So the next match has to be a win.
They look good, but they need to look gooder and win more games at the end of the day, and that's just a cold hard fact. Ali, don't give me that look right there. 3 games today, 2 3-0s. We had a 3-1. We were heading out early. The sun's out.
We've had gooder days, Belly.
We've had gooder days. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget next week we have bounties as well. If you guys are just tuning in, you tuned in late to the stream, check this out. Next week, we have selected games where the winning team wins $10,000 for winning their matchups. We have matchups such as Atlanta FaZe versus OpTic Texas, LA Thieves versus Seattle. And for some of these teams that weren't able to land in the money for the majority of these tournaments, this is going to be a good look for them.
Absolutely. You get an opportunity to make some cash, you get some bragging rights, and obviously adds a little bit more pressure to these matches, so whoever can rise to the occasion takes home the W. So not only do you get points, you get some cash.
Yeah, you got that right. And also, ladies and gentlemen, pull out your credit cards right now, or even ask your parents, ask your mom for it, because challengers, you guys are going to get yet another shot. We're going to have an open tournament out there in Toronto. You guys saw what's happening with the CDL side. We're selling out of tickets. Make sure you grab your team, grab your nice squad, and show up and see what you can do against the competition. But we saw from the Pro-Am Classic, it's an absolute fact that these AMs can definitely hang in there with some of the best of the best. We saw some nail biters, close matchups, even games that went down the wire with upsets. So big shout out to Toronto Ultra Academy NA once again, and hopefully we see them on the main stage soon. Those guys are talented. But other than that, that's it. We're gonna catch you guys same place, same time tomorrow. Don't forget, we love you. Take care of yourself. Ali TJHaly, Nameless, and myself, aka Veli. We want to wish you guys a very good night. Good luck in your ranked games. And tomorrow we're gonna have 4 games. It's gonna be an absolute banger. What we saw today, complete dominance. Hopefully tomorrow we see some game 5s, right? You all take it easy and you have a good night. And we'll catch you next time for some more Call of Duty action.